Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. We're going to do a market update today, so make sure you stick around to the end. We're going to be talking about where interest rates are headed, the top 10 flip markets in the country, what's going on in the commercial real estate space, house flipping tools and tips and tricks. We're going to be just covering a ton of stuff today. If you guys have questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comment section. We will answer those questions as we go through, but we do have a ton to cover today. So I'm going to try to keep it limited to how many questions we answer because I want to get through some of this information. It's really important. Stick around to the end to get the most value. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave the comment that says I subscribed. For everyone who leaves that comment, I'll send you instant access to my free real estate training. We'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar all across the country. Don't want to miss out on that free offer. So let's get straight into this thing, guys. As always, we start off with a little bit of mindset. And the mindset today is, it's kind of a wake-up call. I was just kind of sitting there, thinking about the real estate journey and some of the things that you go through, some of the trials and tribulations, some of the hardships that you can have to push through if you're doing this in a school of hard knocks, especially even without mentorship. But one thing that you guys have to do is you have to wake up to the fact that everybody's waiting on you, your family. They're waiting on you to figure this thing out. Some of us were the smart ones in the family. You're the gifted one in the family. You might have gone to the good school, or you might be more entrepreneurial than some of your family. They're waiting on you. Your kids, they're waiting on you to figure this out. They're waiting on you to tap into this education so that you can pass it down to them and help them to get to the next level so that they don't have to work the 9 to 5 for the rest of their life when they get to that age because you didn't go out and get this knowledge. They're waiting on you. Your parents, some of your parents are getting older. They're waiting on you to figure this game out, to figure out how to build cash flow, how to build generational wealth so that they don't have to struggle as they age. They're waiting on you. Grandparents could be waiting on you. Everybody is waiting on you to get your hands on this knowledge, to get your mind tapped into the real estate game. Real estate is the wealth builder of America. Flat out. It's the wealth builder of America. We're one of the only countries out there with the 30-year mortgage that can be levered. We have 1% mortgages. We have down payment assistance. We have creative financing, lease purchase options, all these different ways, buying and flipping, buying and holding, co-living, all these different strategies that I'm teaching you guys on these sessions in the one-on-one VIP mentorship program. This is a rare opportunity, and a lot of us take it for granted. I was just walking down the street earlier today with my wife, walking her to work, and we walked by a fire hydrant, and it's just been running for like weeks. And I was just thinking how wasteful of America. We could walk down the street, we have a fire hydrant flushing out just fresh water, fresh drinking water. And there are countries, they don't even have fresh water. There's a lot that we take for granted here, like just completely. And knowledge is definitely one of them. Real estate is one of them. So a lot of us don't have that urgency because we're sitting around just thinking like, I'll get around to real estate when I get around to it. I'll figure it out when I figure it out. You have to understand that everybody who depends on you is waiting on you. They're waiting on you to stay locked in. So while you're being distracted, while you're watching TV, while you're doing another vacation that you don't need, while you're buying something you don't need instead of putting that money into real estate, while you're procrastinating to tap into knowledge, people are waiting. They're suffering. They're struggling because of that decision that you're making. So you have to wake up every day with that burden to a degree. If you're going to carry any burden, carry the burden of they're waiting on me to figure this out. They're waiting for me to get it. Your whole community. You know how many jobs you can create with this type of knowledge? You can create 150, 250 jobs just running your own real estate operation with this type of knowledge. So don't take this stuff for granted. If there's somebody, a lot of you need this message, which is why I'm giving it to you. But if there's anybody else that you think needs this message, share this with them. Pass it to them. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Let's get these likes up. Get the message out to more people. More people need to hear this. But you have to stay tapped into this journey. I see my guy, Makai, is tapped in. He's 19 years old. We just spoke earlier today. 19 years old. He's tapped into the real estate. He's more tapped into the real estate than some of you who are 40, 50, which is crazy to me. But I'm telling him, bro, you're going to be a millionaire. Bro, you could do more properties than me because you're starting off so early where you haven't hit that point in life where, and you guys know this, those who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, where you've created this mess that you have to wake up to every day, this complete mess, all these obligations, all these different things that you have to do every day. When you're 19, 20, you don't have that yet. You haven't built that web that you're now trapped by yet. So when you're locked into the real estate, even super young, and you have that energy, sky's the limit. But it's never too late. Even as you're older, it just means you need more urgency. So if you're 30, 40, 50 or older, you need more urgency. You have no time to waste. It's time to go right now. So that's enough mindset. Guys, if you have questions, drop them in the chat section, drop them in the comment section. We'll answer them as we're going through. Let's start off by tapping into the 10 best U.S. states for flipping. And you know, I've been talking a lot about flipping really with a lot of the people who are in our Boots on the Ground mentorship program because, oh, men, thanks for tapping them in. A lot of the people who are in the Boots on the Ground program, we're targeting these flip deals. So we're in one of these markets. We're in Philly doing this right now. But we talk about all of these different markets, how to invest out of town. If you're in places like California and you want to tap into affordable markets where you can still produce profits, these are some of those markets that you should be tapping into. And the reason that you should look at flipping is it's a good market right now for it. The U.S. housing market has hit a record value of 47 trillion due to the inventory shortages. So we're actually at one of the highest historic valuations. This may be the highest. Yeah, this is the new all-time high valuation, according to Redfin, 47 trillion. So when you're in a market that's at an all-time high, it's a good market to flip in. It's a good market to buy real estate and get that appreciation and then flip it out. The market's up on a national level, 19.1% since 2021. So over the last 2 years. So even with COVID, even with moratoriums, shutdowns, all these negatives, there's a lot of naysayers out there. Sometimes people come to me, wow, Brian's always positive. Why? Because I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm just playing the numbers game and saying, look, the market's going up. The news can say what they want to say to get clickbait, but I'm just going to look at this thing. And if the numbers keep going up, and even though interest rates are ticking, this is now flippers market. So even though I will tell you, I can't think of a property that I've sold that I didn't regret selling to a degree because you watch it appreciate even more. So you're like, man, I should have held it because the market's up 20%, right? So everything you sell, it just keeps going up, it feels like. And that makes you think that you should have held it. But as you're starting off your journey, how many of us out there could really step 1 foot out of the 9 to 5 if you did just the average flip? And let's talk about the average flip profits. Because sometimes you guys just think it's just me. The number one best state for flipping houses is Louisiana. Prices are definitely going up. I've helped some VIP members to invest out of town from Louisiana because of things like the property and casualty insurance premiums rising due to some of the hurricanes. But the flipping gross profit in 2022 is $75,000. $75,000. So the gross ROI was 55%. But just think about that number, 75,000. And then there's another average for Michigan, which was the second state, 58,000. So let's even use the lower number. Let's use 58,000 as a profit target. How many of us are out there and could say, hey, if I could do 1 or 2 flip deals a year, I would be out of the 9 to 5 at a $58,000 profit target? There's so many of you guys that I talk to that aren't even knocking down 6 figures yet. So 2 flip deals. If you got your hands on the right knowledge or tapped into the right program, even if you tapped into like my Boots on the Ground program, we're targeting $50,000 flip deals in the Boots on the Ground program. We're running the numbers, pulling the comps, putting together the rehab budgets, and we're looking for, after all these expenses and lending fees and all of that stuff, do we have a projected $50,000 profit target on this deal? And we're targeting these deals for out-of-town investors who want to tap in to a city that is on this list. Pennsylvania, number 6. Delaware, right next to that, number 4. Maryland, right below that, number 7. Baltimore, Philly, Pittsburgh, upstate New York, some of these different locations right in that tri-state type of area. So we're looking at these deals, we're targeting these $50,000 flips. If you could get your foot, even for the average person with one flip deal, $50,000 profit, you could now not be tied to the desk job. You can take 1 foot, put it out of the game. Hey, I'm 1 foot out of this job. Another flip deal, I'm out. Then next year I'm targeting 4 of these. I'm going up 200K. Then you take those profits and you park them into buy and hold deals, buy and hold rental properties, maybe that co-living strategy I talk about where you can 10x your income, 10x your cash flow with the co-living, right? So you want to stay tapped into this flip game for that reason. These profit targets are good enough to get you out of the 9-to-5 in year 1. Good enough to get you out of the 9-to-5 in year 1. You have to be smart. You have to have knowledge. You have to be conservative. You have to understand the cost of construction. So you can't just run into a flip deal and not know what construction costs. That's why you have mentorship. That's why you have my VIP mentorship program where we can teach you the cost of construction. I've done over 300 full gut renovations. But this is how you want to start to reshape your mind. Real estate does not always have to be this super long journey where you do 1 deal per year and you try to do 10 deals over 10 years. And it doesn't have to be that. For a lot of you, with the right knowledge, the right mentorship, the right handhold of a process, you could break free from the 9-to-5 like ASAP. But you have to get tapped in and you have to get serious and understand that people are depending on you. So if you're in any of these markets, a lot of people, when I dropped this today, reached out to me from Louisiana and they're like, Brian, am I really in the top market? I'm like, yeah, you're in the top market. You guys got to get tapped in. Guys, any questions, drop them in the chat section, like, comment, subscribe. Leave that comment that says I subscribe so I can send you instant access to my free real estate training, show you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar. We got into this a little bit. The U.S. housing market just reached a new all-time high valuation of $47 trillion. There was some other information in here. We already talked about that. The value of U.S. homes climbed about 0.4% from a year earlier in June, and now hovers 19.1% higher than 2 years ago. So that market is hot, man. And for a lot of us who are sitting on the sidelines and waiting, thinking, oh, well, the market's going to collapse, the market's going to fall out. Well, the projection, and we'll get into that a little bit later in this session, the projection is that rates are going to fall. Even though you're going to hear a lot of people who are talking about how now's a horrible time to buy, and they're mostly talking about homeowners, like owner occupants. We're investors. So there's a major difference between what is good advice for us as investors and what's good advice for an owner occupant, somebody who essentially knows nothing about real estate investing. That advice, if you're getting advice from just like your run-of-the-mill mortgage broker or somebody who's a realtor, or they're not really investing. So their mindset is geared towards just a whole different thought process. It's just a whole different thought process. So they're just looking at, oh, well, the prices are high because they're up 19% and rates are high. This is a bad time to buy. What I'm saying is you can flip. And in the markets with the strategy that we do, you can buy for pennies on the dollar some of these deals. And we'll talk about kind of where you should get your price ranges and how you should do that process, even in this session a little bit later. But you can still make really good money. And rates are projected to go back down. As they go back down, prices go higher. They're not going to go lower. They'll go higher. There will be some inventory resupplies, which I think will be good on pricing, especially on the lower end of the spectrum for investors. Everything to me is just looking good for investors, but only the investors who are knowledgeable and who aren't afraid right now. There are a lot of people who don't know much, so they're afraid, just sit on the sidelines. But for those who have the knowledge of how to tap in, this is winning time. This is gold time. Adrian said, I'm sorry, but this is not a good market to be flipping in. Wholesale market. Well, wholesaling is flipping. So that's a contradiction to a degree, because as a wholesaler, who do you sell the property to? You're selling the property to a developer who's going to take that property and flip it or do a burst strategy deal with it. If they can't flip it for a profit or do a burst strategy deal, they wouldn't be buying it from you. So by nature of being a wholesaler right now, if you're still moving deals, it's showing you that investors are still making money, because investors aren't just out doing deals and not making money. So wholesaling is not some different stratosphere of real estate. Wholesaling is just going direct to the consumer, going direct to the seller and securing the property, but securing it at a value where it can be marked up and flipped. So you are flipping as a wholesaler, but flipped to a developer at a low enough price point where the developer can still flip it for a profit and hit that $50,000 to $75,000 target on average. Some are hitting more, some a little less, right? That's part of the game. So you should learn wholesaling. We do teach that in the VIP mentorship program. We do teach creative financing, lease purchase options, subject to sandwich lease options, wrap contracts, wrap mortgages, land contracts, all of these things. You should learn all of this. You shouldn't even stop at wholesaling, because wholesaling is just one dimension of the game. Creative financing is probably 90% of even that whole sector. Wholesaling is like 10% of the game. Creative financing, the other 90. So you should really learn the full spectrum of that. And then also what the wholesalers typically don't know, which is the cost of construction. How much does it cost to actually put these houses together? Because think about it. If a wholesaler knew the cost of construction and they knew how to monetize the deal, they wouldn't wholesale it to anybody. They would just take it, get the financing, and run the play. Bring the contractors together and execute. But because they lack that education on how to do that, they flip the deal for a profit, for a small profit, in my opinion. Because why would you flip a deal for $10K when you could monetize it and make $80,000 off of that deal? You just wouldn't do it, right? So it's a good market still for investors, but the market has gotten tougher. So you need more skills, more knowledge, and that will allow you to execute. Anna, with market pricings rising, is it harder to find a $50,000 deal? No, I wouldn't say it's harder or easier. So why are prices rising? Prices are rising because of inventory shock. So that was what I wanted to get to. I'm not sure if that's in here. There was something that broke down. So 9 out of 10 homeowners right now, this is like all-time highs almost. 9 out of 10 homeowners have a mortgage rate on their existing property that is lower than where current market interest rates are. That means if 9 out of 10 homeowners sold their property, they would have to buy back in at a higher interest rate. And what that is doing is it is holding back people from listing their property for sale. It is shrinking the amount of inventory within the market. So when you have that low inventory, even with some of these other market conditions like rising interest rates, prices keep going up because it's a supply and demand game. Real estate is pure finance. Like I'm an econ major, and as an economist, like when you start learning about how the economy works, you learn pure like supply demand type of movements. Real estate moves so closely to that because of the way that the market is set up. The knowledge is asymmetrical. It's very greed and fear driven, and you can see all of the properties that are available on the market at any given point in time for the most part, even in terms of like foreclosures and some of those things, which we'll talk about the foreclosure market as well coming up. So that's what you're dealing with there. So prices are still rising. I wouldn't say it's harder to find the $50,000 profit deals because the market's rising. Hypothetically, it's easier because the spreads are rising, because the top end is selling for a little bit more. But you do need specialized knowledge to be able to get those deals because there's a lot of competition. So you need the right systems, you need the right knowledge. Like if you're looking at a deal and you don't know the cost of construction, you don't know how much it costs to put these properties back together, when you see it available, and I see it available and I know the exact cost, or people in my mentorship program are looking at it, and even if they don't know, they can shoot a video of that property and send it to me. Brian, what does this cost? And I'm like, we put that back together for about 70,000, 72, 62, whatever that number is. And now they can put out a confident offer and go and lock that deal up in a matter of really minutes, while it would take you weeks to fully evaluate it, try to talk to contractors, figure it out. You still would never have the confidence to pull the trigger. So it's very hard to just go in and figure out. When interest rates were at like 3-4%, you could kind of just throw a dart and figure it out, right? You would still lose a lot of money though. The School of Hard Knocks is unforgiving. The School of Hard Knocks is very difficult. Like, I've lost over $500,000 proudly. So you can say you talk to somebody who proudly lost over $500,000 in this game, because I learned some valuable lessons that I put into my mentorship program, my course, that I make available for you guys, so you don't have to lose that much money and go through that much pain. I'm proud of it now. It was very painful in terms of actual experience while it was happening. But there's so much value in this. But yeah, that's what I would say. It's not harder to find because of the market. It's just there's more competition out there, and you need an advantage. You need a competitive advantage right now. And mentorship can be that. Getting the knowledge, getting the systems that other people don't have, that can give you a competitive advantage to go out and now be able to break yourself free from the 9-to-5. And that's just how you have to look at it. That's how you have to look at it. And whatever that costs, it costs. But I can tell you, you could, off of one flip deal, you could 10x your investment in mentorship. You could 20x your investment in mentorship with one deal. And then how many deals can you do after that for the rest of your life? Because once you learn how to do this is like learning how to ride a bike, learning how to fish, learning how to, do anything, right? This is now a life skill set that you can tap into. And then more importantly, teach others. This is how you have that impact on those people who are waiting for you to figure this out. Those people who are waiting for you to learn the game and then bring that game back to them, which is your family, your friends, your loved ones, your kids. They're waiting for you to wake up. I'm trying to shake you guys awake with these lives, with some of these sessions, with some of these reels, with some of these calls that we do, strategy sessions. And guys, if anybody wants any of the links to anything that we're going over, I just got a text about it. All the links are in the description. You can tap into the links in the description. There's free trainings in the description as well. So make sure you guys click the links in the description. But hopefully that answers that question. Reports are showing only 1 million homes for sale in the US. Yeah, the inventory is shot. But what I've seen is it's kind of on the bottom end where there are like shells. A lot of investors, a lot of run-of-the-mill investors have kind of, I don't want to say they've been wiped out, but their skill set is obsolete because the game got harder. So a lot of our competition is just completely on the sidelines. They're watching the news and they're like, oh, I'm going to wait this thing out. They're not going to wait it out. The prices are going to go higher a year from now, and they're just going to be permanently out. But the people who can play this game, like if you know my co-living strategy, how to increase the cash flow on an asset, this can unlock you and allow you to have a competitive edge. If you know how to target the right 50K profit deals, that's going to give you a competitive edge. So as you keep stacking your competitive advantage against the competition, you will accelerate. You will beat out the competition, long term. You'll just out survive them. As a realtor licensed in PA and New Jersey, I hear no inaccuracies here. I'm scheduled for a call on Friday for mentorship. I'm excited. Look, that's why I answer all questions, even people who say, Brian, that's BS. I'm going to answer your question as good as well as I can, because we need to hear all these points of view. If I thought the market was bad, I would tell you guys the market is bad. But I truly believe the market is going to keep going up. That's the shocking part of this game. And when you start hearing the masses say the opposite, oh, the market's going to go down, you'll see, that's when you know it's going to go up, because most people buy high and sell low. Most people are wrong. The masses are typically wrong about the market. So when you're hearing that counter argument, you should listen up. I've learned that not only from managing money for millionaires, doing like that kind of Wall Street type of thing in my former life, working at boutique firms, and some of you guys know I'm still a certified financial planner. But I've learned that from watching the other asset managers, the money managers, the older guys who've been around that were like 70, 80, and they had seen the market go up, down, left, right. And I always wondered, like, hey, I just saw this on CNBC. Well, this is the gospel, right? And they're like, when is this kid going to learn? They're just shaking their head at me. And I'm like, how do they know that it's not going to do this? All the experts are saying this. Everybody's saying this. And they're just like, you'll see. And then I would see the opposite happen. And it didn't make sense to me. Sell the news, buy the rumor. Or buy the news, sell the rumor. It's one of those. What's the price for mentorship? You have to tap into the call. Schedule a call. You can click the link in the description. Tap into my free training. And then schedule a call. Schedule a one-on-one call. We'll talk about mentorship. We'll get you laced up. We'll get you tapped in. We'll make something work for you. And we also have those ride-alongs, guys. Make sure you guys stay tapped in. We got ride-alongs. We're going to have a New Year's ride-along coming up. There's a video, I think it's like the last video I dropped on the YouTube channel, that shows you a little snippet of the ride-along we just did. We saw about 10 projects. We were out there from 7:30 in the morning till like 5 p.m. I mean, they kept me out all night because we were having a lot of fun looking at these properties and talking about the game. So we're going to have another one out of demand. So you guys make sure you tap into that if you're interested. And the ride-along comes with a lot of value. You even get access to the VIP course content, and you can upgrade. So the cost of your ticket for the ride-along actually counts on an upgrade against one-on-one mentorship or the Boots on the Ground program, where we build the houses for you and kind of do everything for you. My guy from New Zealand who tapped into the Boots on the Ground program, he just locked up his first deal, all the way from New Zealand, locked up a deal in the States through the program in only about 3 weeks, which is amazing. Testament to what we have here. Shallon said the ride along is a must. She tapped in, got to see the city of brotherly love. We ran into a lot of stuff on that day. We ran into some of the people of Philadelphia, which is good too. But yeah, the ride along is a must. It's going to give you guys a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. So when you guys are rocking with me, you're getting hands-on experience. You're getting one-on-one support. You're getting, knowledge that is from, real bruises in this game, like really getting smacked around in this game. It's not somebody who's done 10 deals. It's somebody who's been through 300 projects and a lot of drama to go with that, but has lived to talk about it. So definitely stay tapped in there. Have you ever had a bank demand a due on sale clause when doing? No, I mean, not a lot of due on sale clauses get called. I would say, I think it's somewhere in like the 2 or 3% range, maybe lower, that ever get called. I mean, most of the times banks are not. Look, banks have enough foreclosures. There's 2 million foreclosures every year. The banks aren't really in the business of causing their own loans to default. So they're not going to call a due on sale and just be like, yeah, we want this loan to fail. That's not really their goal. Their goal is to just keep collecting the money as long as it's being paid. They have enough non-performing loans. So it typically doesn't happen, but it always can happen. It's always a risk. And with real estate in general, guys, there's always risk. Even when you're doing a flip deal, the numbers can look good. The market can change. The appraisal can come in low. There's always some risk in real estate, but there's risk in life. You could be walking down the street, get hit by a bus, right? There's risk in life. So if anybody's telling you there's absolutely no risk, somebody asked me that once, Brian, can you guarantee 100% that I have access? No, I can't do that. I'm not the market god, right? I'm not the real estate god. I can't control it to that level. But what I can control, I control. What I can control, I will control. What I can't control, I can't control. It just is what it is. That's part of it. There's risk, reward. There's always some type of trade-off there. But what I can tell you is if you invest with an edge, there's going to be, as you play this game long term, you're going to win. I've seen people fail forward in this game, lose money on every deal. and then go out 10 years and they have 30 properties and they're cash flowing. And that's should be exciting to you guys to know that that type of stuff exists, and that you can have those types of results as well. Hey, Arlene, how we doing? Can you explain what a reverse crash in real estate? You'd have to. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. So the market is not exactly doomed. No, the market's not doomed at all. The market's actually pretty stable. The thing that's getting hurt the most, which we're going to talk about next, is the commercial space. I mean, WeWork is going from 40 billion to possible bankruptcy. You know, this office space is getting crushed. But the residential real estate is pretty strong. In my opinion, it's pretty strong in most markets. Interest rates are projected to go back down, which we'll talk about as we get over to it. I don't think we're quite there yet. But as rates go back down, the market is very strong. There are some markets that are getting hit hard, and we're going to talk about that on the next slide as well. Yeah, Adrian is also confused. Like, are we talking about reverse mortgage? I'm not sure. Yeah, the ride along's a must. Is the ride along in person? The ride along is in person. So I usually, for the ride along, we have people fly in, like Shallon flew out from out of the country, from Canada. We have people flying from all over the country. We've had people flying from Canada, Hawaii, like all over, all the way out, Washington, LA, California, like all the way across the country, all the way from Florida and Texas and everywhere, to tap into this ride along and spend time, you know, together, boots on the ground, going in active deals, inspecting properties together, seeing contractors working, understanding the process of co-living and the different intricacies. But also, and Shallon can correct me, I think we spoke about it like on site. We tapped into what we call and what people call the C-class neighborhoods. And people would get off the tour bus like, feels pretty good out here. And it's like, yeah, it feels good in the hood, you know? And you need to experience that as well, because, you know, people are like, oh, they're calling Philadelphia, Philadelphia, and kind of all of this stuff. But look, we're in North Philly. We're in the hood. We weren't there at freaking 2 a.m, right? But we're in the hood, and you can see how C-class investing really happens, and that is fine. It's not as reckless as people try to make it. It's not as dangerous as people try to make it. It's just real estate, you know, and that's why you need to get out and touch the real estate. A ride along will remove the fear from this game for 90% of people. It will remove all of the fear. And then the education, because when you do the ride along, I'm giving you access to the VIP course content. You will have all the education, everything that we cover during the ride along, everything that you're seeing. You're now going to have in-depth detail of exactly what happens and how to put these projects back together. So, you know, what type of, definitely tap into the ride along. If you're interested, you can still, you know, get to me and book a ticket for the ride along by clicking that link in the description. It's happening. The ride along tickets go for $2,000, but $2,000 a ticket that covers the tour for the whole day and the course content, laces you up with the course content. We spend a whole day together. What type of real estate do you do? I believe in learning about the entire market, right? So most of these guys out here, they're going to try to tap you into one strategy. They're going to say, oh, we do Airbnb. We're going to show you how to make Airbnb with AI and blah, blah, blah. It's all nonsense. Or then you'll have the wholesale guy. Everything's wholesale. Then you'll have the flipper. All we do is flip. Then you'll have the buy and holder. Never sell a property. You have all these different people. Then you have the tax lien guy. Oh, we just buy the paper. We invest in the paper. We're smarter. And we don't like to touch it. Then you have the land guy. Whoever controls the dirt controls the deal. You have all these different personalities out there, right? Here, we're not into personalities and nonsense. We just teach you all of the different disciplines. So you're going to learn about the tax liens, tax certs. You're going to learn how to buy and flip, buy and hold, do the burst strategy. You're going to learn about full gut renovation and construction. You're going to learn about creative financing and wholesaling. So you're going to learn all of the strategies, like 6 core disciplines, essentially, so that you can navigate the market. That's important, right? You need to have multiple skill sets. My job is to make you the best real estate investor you can be, not just some one-dimensional person. So then when the market shifts, like, hey, I'm doing the Airbnb. Oh, sorry, we're dropping a new regulation we're getting rid of Airbnb. No more Airbnb in this city. You're out. Now all your money's gone. We're not doing that. We're teaching you everything. So now if Airbnb dies, you go to midterm rentals. All right, I'll just rent it to traveling nurses and I'm gonna just pre-furnish it. Like, you just keep going. So we build expert real estate investors. Real estate is multifaceted. That's why when somebody tries to crush me with a wholesale, commentary or something like that, it's not going to crush me, because I'm not anti-wholesaling. I'm not talking about flipping versus wholesaling. We're doing everything. We know everything. And that's the difference. And when you know that much, you will lose your fear of investing in real estate, because you'll have multiple exit strategies, multiple ways to make money. Even if you run out of money or your credit gets bad, you know how to invest without credit. So you're like, oh, my credit's bad. All right, cool. I mean, this game is so real. You could be investing, run into a brick wall, file a bankruptcy, keep investing. While like, hey, I filed that bankruptcy. Most people are like, I got to sit on the sidelines for 5 years. You're like, no, I'm going to just keep acquiring properties, creative financing, boom. And you just keep going. So it's about being multifaceted. It's about being multifaceted. Do you work with foreclosures? Definitely. We definitely will target people in pre-foreclosure and foreclosure, going after motivated sellers, setting up those campaigns. It's funny. I saw a guy. I need to do a live with this guy. My guy, Al, who's in Camden. Al Camden Reynolds. This dude's awesome. And my, if people don't know, like, my whole family, I was actually born in Jersey. A lot of people don't know that, in New Brunswick. And a lot of my family is from South Jersey. My grandmother still lives in Camden, right? So I was growing up, I was, in and around Camden and Philly, which is right there across the border, across the river. So he's out in Camden doing deals. He's putting up bandit signs. He was on his Instagram today putting up bandit signs. And a lot of people are like, Brian, do bandit signs work? People don't do things that don't work. People don't do things that don't work. Investors don't buy deals from wholesalers that don't make profits. And investors don't put up bandit signs because nobody calls them. They put up bandit signs because people are still calling them. Like, it still works. All this stuff, all this guerrilla marketing still works. So, what doesn't work? Sitting on the sidelines, being a naysayer, watching too much news, watching the wrong people, being distracted. That doesn't work. Being scared, that doesn't work. Not investing in yourself and your education, that doesn't work. But doing things and taking action works. That's why people are taking those actions. So you just look at them. What are they doing? What's working? Let me go do some of that. Let me go test some of that out. Scared money don't make money. Sitting on the sidelines, I mean, you're not afraid of the 9 to 5 enough then. If that's kind of what some of us are still doing. You're not afraid of that path. See, I sold Medicare. A lot of people don't know this. I've had so many different lives. I used to sell Medicare insurance. So I would go into the buildings where it was like, hey, this building's loaded with seniors and it's like the lowest income housing, or the low affordable housing, and seeing like the end result of not tapping in, not locking in. The end result, like, if you don't have the capital and your family is not able to, support you and help you, I've seen that. I was seeing that in my 20s, and I was like, damn, this is real. Like, if you don't get your money up and get stability and have cash flow, a lot of us aren't thinking there. We're just living in the now. But a lot of you wouldn't want to live to 90, 80. You'd be like, I'm ready to check out. If you were in those conditions, you haven't seen them. But I saw it at a very young age, and I was like, all right, I got to get dead serious about this thing, because this thing is not a game. Calvin, what up? I haven't seen you. I don't think I've seen you in here in a minute. North Philly just felt like a regular neighborhood. Nothing scary at all. Coming from a Canadian who is a bit sheltered. It helps running around with me and my uncle too. I'm about 6'7", we're 6. He's 6'8", 6'9". So you had the security in full force. But no, there's nothing overly scary. It's when you get into this stuff, you start seeing it. Hey, these cities are just regular cities, and the people are just regular people. Stuff happens everywhere. Shootings can happen anywhere. Shootings happen in a suburban school. Like, they can happen anywhere. It's America, right? But there's a way to move in certain cities, you know, and as an investor, you're there to do business and people know it, and they're not really there to mess with you. I explained that to the Ride Along group, but yeah, control the dirt. Whoever controls the dirt controls the deal. You said right. I want to do everything. Yes, you don't want to do everything all at once, but you want to learn everything. You don't want to be in a mentorship program where you just learn one skill. Hey, we're going to teach you this. This is the best skill. No, it's the only skill they know because they haven't done much. They haven't done hundreds of deals. So that's the skill that they're going to teach you. And it's easy to just teach you one skill, by the way. It's very difficult to come in and make you a master investor. I'm not giving myself an easy task, but that's not what I'm about. I'm about making new people who can get into their first or next deal and then go out and uplift their family and their community. I want you to have the skills to be able to navigate and do 100 deals, because that's how we're going to have, as a collective, the 24/7 Cash Flow University, that national impact that I want the university to have. I don't only want you guys to become millionaires. Forget about me. This isn't about me at all. I want you guys to become millionaires, but not only millionaires. I want you to create jobs for other people. I want you to circulate that cash flow through the communities and uplift the neighborhoods, rebuild communities. That's what this is about. And if you get tapped in and stay locked in, you're not only going to rebuild communities and your people and your family and those who depend on you, you're going to create wealth for yourself long term. And once you get this knowledge and you start having the experience, the knowledge is going to come flowing out of you into the next generation, into the next group of people around you. It's going to spread. Definitely, we're dropping gems tonight. Guys, if you get value out of this, like, comment, subscribe. Sometimes I get off these, I'm like, man, it's like 25 likes. Come on. But we got 60, 70 people on here. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says I subscribe. Also, send this to somebody who you think needs some of this value, to see some of this stuff or understand some of these concepts. Share this with somebody. Do you got us until our first deal? Or this is you get lifetime access to my program. So a lot of people kick you out. They give you like the 90-day. Hey, we're going to give you 90 days for XYZ, and then we kick you out. I don't kick people out. I don't work with everybody. I don't have the capacity to work with everyone one-on-one. But when I'm working with you one-on-one, it's to get you to the next level. Here's what'll happen. You will get to certain levels. You'll do your first deal. Most people are getting their first deal within the first 30 to 90 days. The first 1 to 3 months, most people on average are getting their first deal or two, some more. But after that, after you go like a year, the next year, you're going to be ready to do like 10, 20 deals. And you're going to have higher level questions. I'm still here. So you just pick up the phone. BG, what do I do here? And I just lace you up really quick and you're ready to run. You have lifetime access to the course content, the knowledge. So I tell people, you're joining my real estate family. When you really tap into the mentorship, you're joining my family. So we're here to help you throughout the journey, because this journey is a long journey. There are questions that you're going to have in year 2 that you didn't have in year 1. And it wouldn't be right, in my opinion, just how I operate, to have you cut off like, I'm not answering your question like, you should have asked that last year. That doesn't make sense to me, because I'm here to help you to do that. Because here's the thing, like in year 2, let's say you're going to go out and do 10 deals. Isn't that what I want you to do? Or 20 deals? I know not only the impact that's going to have for you, but the impact that it's going to have for the contractors you hire, their family, the community that you're rebuilding. It's going to have so many layers of impact. If that's contingent upon me answering a quick question, why would I not answer that question? Like, that would be so selfish to be like, nah, I'm not answering that. When I could lace you up with some quick game that's going to accelerate you and then have all that national impact. That would make sense to me. So yeah, once you tap in, you're in. And you have lifetime access. Even when I create new course content, my VIP people who are already in, because you have lifetime access to the course, I just keep uploading it to the course and lacing it up. So you'll get a lot of game out of this thing. This is really the last course that people tap into. A lot of people will come to me and say, I'm glad I found you. Let's do this. And they never tap into another course. Some people have tapped into other courses and they tap into mine. Say, man, I wish I would have found this first. I wasted money on that other thing. But some people come to me and be like, man, I'll never need another mentorship program. And this isn't a course, even though we have course content. So mentorship program. People are like, man, I don't think I'll ever need another mentorship program like this, or even more course content, because everything's here. Like the level, I mean, it's over 100 hours a game, 100 hours of course content. Your average course is like 10 hours. So because we laced up all these different areas, so you don't even have to come into the course content and go straight through it. We'll tap you in to certain sections of it. Hey, tap into this section because this is going to accelerate you. Let's tap into the creative financing. Then once we get a couple deals, get your money up a little bit, then we'll get into maybe a little flip. And then once you get that money, we'll start buying and holding. We just start to navigate you through the process. Then you're going to look up and be like, man, I know multiple areas of the game. Now you're dangerous. You're like a boxer versus a UFC fighter who can throw hands, but also kick them shins, kick them calves up, and take you down to the mat, put you in an arm bar. Like, this is the difference between us. We're the UFC fighters of the real estate versus just the straight up boxers or the one-dimensional people. So that's kind of that. Would you Airbnb or stop? Maybe ask that again. I'm not sure what the exact question is. Everything works. Give me some game why Airbnb don't work in certain areas and why. Okay. So it's not necessarily that Airbnb don't work, but it's that there's a lot of people who are pushing against it. So you will have people who are campaigning against Airbnb and single family residences in places like Austin, Texas. So they have friends that are sitting on the board, the zoning boards, and they will get regulations passed that will now create heavier taxes, maybe like a 10% profit tax on the Airbnb people who are doing it in that area. So for a lot of people, that 10% is 100% of their profit. So now when you get that tax, it started to wipe out the profitability of the strategy. So you have to imagine if 10% of the gross income was your profit after paying the mortgage and operating, and then somebody just passed the regulation and said, yeah, give me that 10%, give me all your profit. Now you're sitting there with this deal that's not profitable. And if you don't have enough game to shift that property over to a different strategy, then you're just locked in now. So it's not that Airbnb don't work, it's that the regulation is against you. And it keeps coming out. Philly, New York, Atlanta, Austin, San Francisco. I mean, it hits multiple areas and big cities. So it's not as easy. Now, how can you stay laced up with Airbnb and do it smarter? Do it in rural areas that are touristy, where it's like, think about like the Poconos. Oh, somebody wants to come out here, whitewater raft, horseback ride, hit some of the mountains, go skiing, snow tubing. Now you can build like a cabin, a wood cabin with the fire pit, the hot tub, kind of off-site a little bit, maybe 10 minutes from the action. And now you can keep that place occupied during peak season. And that is a better play to have kind of like this product that is super designed for this market, or to buy it near golf resorts in rural areas near golf resorts that are on top 50 tour lists where you know people are going to come to the golf. Now in the basement, you build a little digital driving range down in the basement with the net or on a rooftop, and you start to lace it out for golfers. And that's going to keep you in front of the right people. So it's about getting super custom with it. That's how you're going to win as an Airbnb investor. You're not just going to win by buying a property in a major city and being like, oh, people like Phoenix, Arizona, I'm just going to Airbnb it. Yeah, when that regulation hits you, you wish you hadn't. He said, I've been here, bro. Good question. Good question. I think some people got some value out of that because a lot of people had that question. Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the content with somebody who you think will get value. He was giving an example that you should be as diverse as possible, not stick to one thing. I'm not saying that Airbnb is bad. Nothing is bad, right? But you don't want to be locked into it as your only strategy because you will get blindsided. You will get blindsided. And that punch you don't see is the one that knocks you out. See you next live. Just saw a quick ad with you on how to buy your first rental property. What is that about? I don't know. I mean, you tell me. I'm not even sure which ad it was, but yeah. I mean, getting your first deal is everything, man. Your first deal will set you free. It's really just getting that first check. A lot of us still have this doubt that I had. I had this doubt. That's how I know you guys have it. I know people pay their mortgage. I know people pay their rent, but they're not going to pay me. There's no way they're going to pay me because I'm me. I know I can show up and say I own this property, but they're not going to pull money out of their pocket and put it in my hand. Yes, they will. And you need that experience. You need somebody to dig in their pocket, pull out 2,500 cash, and smack that in your hand and say, I signed a lease. Here's the cash. Give me the keys. So that you can have the feeling that lets you know without a doubt, if I did this once, what if I did this 20 times? That would be 50,000 cash, right? So you need to have that experience. You need to get deal number one. And once you get through that first deal, which is like mentorship can get you there if you don't know how to run the bases. I hold your hand through that first deal. You will now be able to look backwards at every step we did and repeat it and replicate it and do it 100 times, as many times as your heart desires. And if you run out of money as you're acquiring, you shift over to the creative financing strategies that allow you to keep acquiring properties without tons of cash or credit. So it just gives you a ton of value. But deal number one will set you free. It will set you completely free. It will unlock you. The Mad Millionaire. I love that name. Adrian, subscribe. Definitely. It's straight truth, no fluff. Facts. Oliver. Yeah, check it in. My man, check it in. I appreciate you tapping in for the ride along, man. There's a lot of fun to connect with you in person as well. How can I get in touch with you one-on-one with my question? Just reach out, man. Click the link in the description. Once again, guys, links are in the description. You can tap into my free real estate training that I put together for you. There's a link. You can book a call as well. If you want to book a call, talk about mentorship, talk about real estate, go ahead. You'll book a call with me and my team. You may talk with somebody from my team first, and then you'll get passed through to me, depending. Sometimes I'm operating because I'm really out doing deals all day. So, but I will, connect with you guys. We will connect one-on-one. If this is something you want to do, if you're interested, I always carve out that time to, connect one-on-one. So click the link in the description. There's free training videos and content. And then there is a button that you can hit that will tap you into a call. So make sure you hit that. There are beginning zone regulations in certain areas for Airbnb. So if the property isn't zoned properly, it can't be used as a it's zoning, but it's really about the money. Like they're gonna start charging $5,000 annual registration fee, kind of all of this stuff. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy, but it is what it is. I think they're responding to Calvin a little bit. Adrian said, I like what you're offering. I hope so. Look, if you don't like what I'm offering, that's fine with me too. Because I'm not really here to sell you guys on real estate. If you're not sold on real estate, you got to go sell yourself on real estate. What I'm here to do is educate you on real estate. Lace you guys up with the right information, the right knowledge. Let me tap over here. Lace you guys up with the right education and the right knowledge, and kind of get you guys on your way to your first deal. Like, I don't want you guys stuck in this mode constantly where you're like in fear or wondering about, the real estate and is this going to work for me and how do I get this done? We're going to quickly move you past those fears, those objections, those concerns, and we're going to get you kind of tapped back in. We're going to get you tapped into the right stuff. So that's all I can say there. Hopefully you guys do like what we're offering, because what we're offering is definitely a little bit different than what's out there. I mean, what's out there, in my opinion, a lot of it is nonsense. A lot of these courses you tap into, you'll get on a Zoom call and there'll be, so many people on this call and they don't know anybody. Like they literally, they know nobody. And it's just like, how's anybody getting value in this thing? How's anybody going to get any value? When, like, if I don't know you, if you're tapped in, like everybody knows, if you're tapped into my VIP mentorship program, we're talking one-on-one. It comes with one-on-one support, one-on-one Zoom calls where we're getting together, just me and you. If I'm not getting to know you at that level, how can I properly lace you up with the game? I need to learn who you are as an individual, what makes you tick, what your goals are, what your objectives are, kind of where your family is at and where you see yourself long term. I need to learn who you are so that I can properly navigate you through this game. And that's what's missing in the real estate coaching business is everybody's trying to do that quick cash grab. They don't spend any time with anybody one-on-one. Therefore, you lose. It's not that they lose, they win, but you lose because you don't get that one-on-one support. The one-on-one support is priceless. And that's why I tell people, take advantage of it while I'm doing this, aggressively. Take advantage of that one-on-one because it's not something I can do for everyone. I'm in it busier because more and more people enroll, every month. More and more people want to tap in. And, I want to help as many people as possible, but I'm not Superman, right? A lot of municipalities are banning Airbnb. A lot of cities are oversaturated with them. Could be risky if that's your only strategy. Yeah, it could be risky. I'm just trying to protect you out here. I'm not telling you don't do it, but do it the right way. Do it the way that I'm telling you, and you should be in a much better position. Justin Gaeth, definitely. Justin Gaeth of the real estate game. Got to knock him out. Valinsky. Yeah. What else we got? Do you know any specific ways that you can source deals that you can do the Act 135 with? That's not registering for me right now. Maybe rephrase that. Thanks, bro. So the original way is the way to go. Yeah. The original way. Taking it slow with Airbnb is probably the best way to go. Damien liked and subscribed. Appreciate that. I got my first deal. Give me some game on how I can maximize my property. I've been on here for a while, bro. I don't know your property, so I don't know how to maximize it. If you told me more information about your property, how it was set up currently, I could tell you how to maximize it and get more value out of it. Everything in real estate is about the highest and best use. So when we're doing real estate as a developer, the word developer by nature means that you are a creator. You're not an inventor. We're not inventing real estate. There's nothing new under the sun in that sense. But we are reimagining it. We are building it into its best, what our version of the best and highest use value is. So if we're cash flow investors, somebody walked into one of my co-living properties the other day and they were like, Brian, where's the living room? And I was like, exactly. I was like, there ain't one, because it's all about the cash flow in this. And they were just like, whoa, you really are dead serious. I'm like, yeah. And that building, for those who are on the ride along, that building we walked through on Lehigh, the big one, the co-living one, that one, it's got like 5 tenants in it in like a week. That building's already tenanting up like right now, and we were just in it like 10 days ago. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to get the most out of these deals. Brian, do you have a calculator on Excel we can get? I could send you guys some stuff. I can make some stuff available, but it's not about, look, I have a spreadsheet, right? So I have a 5-page detailed analysis report that I do for my deals. And I didn't start off doing it. I kind of started off like most of us, where I was just trying to figure this thing out on the fly and guesstimate and write stuff on the back of a napkin. And then over the course of time, I started to build out this spreadsheet. I actually had a virtual assistant from Mexico City who was a CFP, and he kind of built it out, but I programmed it. I basically worked with like a team of virtual assistants and analysts and had this thing programmed and built out from my vision. I need to see this, program this in, program in like I basically have my own HUD in there. Like when you go to buy a property, there you get like a closing statement, and there's all these costs, transfer taxes, mortgage insurance, doc prep fees, wire fees, origination fees, mortgage interest, and like all these different things, right? So I had that built out. So I said, like, I want to put in the ARV 250,000. I wanted to spit out my closing costs on a loan, on a 65% ARV loan. I wanted to spit it all out because there's formulas for all of this stuff. So I just had my guys work backwards and reverse engineer the closing spreadsheets into my own spreadsheet. So now I can do this stuff. So yeah. So, you know, I do have this stuff. And it's stuff that I go over in the mentorship program. So I don't, a lot of this isn't about not making too much publicly available, because then the people in the mentorship program lose. So I can't let my people in the mentorship program lose by taking some of our valued assets and just making them publicly available. There's a lot of free trainings, there's a lot of information, but if you want to get your hands on some of the secret sauce, I mean, I'm giving you guys so much even on these lives, but if you want to get your hands on the real secret sauce, the things that I would consider competitive advantages, then, you know, you have to tap into the mentorship program. So that's all I can tell you guys there. So I don't have like that go-to spreadsheet, but there's stuff like that. You can go on biggerpockets.com and get spreadsheets, but I don't believe in spreadsheets like that. I only do my spreadsheeting to battle test a deal, to be super conservative and say, all right, it survived this, it should be okay. But I don't live and die by spreadsheets. What you'll find is, as you get better at this game, I live and die by like a feel. I believe that real estate has a feel. It's almost like a chef. I like measuring stuff to cook food, but also there's a feel that you should develop. If you've cooked something 100 times, like I've done over 300 deals, you cook something 100 times, you can just grab it, pinch of salt, couple dashes of this, and that's the cake, right? So you start to learn how to cook these deals up, how to chef up these deals, and there's a feel to it. There's a, okay, that thing's worth 550, we can get it for 100. Done deal. I'm going to get in and out of it for 250. Like, it is what it is. So you just start to learn the game at that level, and then you use the spreadsheets to validate your touch and feel game. Ace Deuce said his one-on-one is fire. It's 100%. And that's where you got to be, 100%. Airbnb is about them making taxes and hotels losing money. Definitely. The hotels lost a lot of money with the shutdowns, with the moratoriums. They have a lot of money, and they can lobby politicians. So they will lobby politicians against you and make, basically, the hotels are like, well, you're making us pay these taxes and fees, make them pay it. But the hotel owner has a lot more money than you, so they can eat some of the, like a $5,000 annual registration fee, and you can't. so they'll eat it, but now they're passing that cost on to you, so that more people like are going to get weeded out of that Airbnb. They'll come back to the hotels, and then the hotels get fully occupied. They make the money again. So, you know, there's a lot of it, man. There's a lot to this game. It's a dirty game, and that's why I say, like, you really do want to be tapped into knowledge, because there's a veil, and you need that veil removed so that you can see these individual players, how dirty some of these people are, and how to navigate correctly. You just want to be in the right position. I mean, that's the best way I can say it, is what you don't know is going to be that punch that knocks you out. So I've seen enough to kind of know a lot of these people's tricks over the course of hundreds of deals. And I've got slapped around and knocked around. I'm not immune, but I'm just here to talk about it and teach you guys so that you don't have to go through the pain. So, you know, I've been on that battlefield. You don't have to go through pain in this game. You can just get straight, what I call straight to the chicken, straight to the money. You can, but you're not going to do it in a School of Hard Knocks. You go to School of Hard Knocks, you're going to walk that long, dark path, and you're going to learn the hard way. And when you learn the hard way in this game, it's $500,000. So be prepared for that. If you're arrogant enough to think you're the chosen one, which I didn't think I was the chosen one. It's just, you know, all of this whole mentorship game was just at a different level. It was at a different level. The knowledge wasn't as advanced as it is now. It wasn't as available as it is now. There weren't people like me out there. There still aren't people like me out there, because most of these guys won't even share this level of knowledge with you guys, right? They won't even give you this knowledge on a live session. not for free. They won't give it to you. So there's still nobody really like me out here who's here to go through all this pain and give you this knowledge and game and give you an availability of one-on-one access within a mentorship and physical hands-on ride-alongs and all these different things. There's nobody out there like that. So I couldn't find this version out there, so I created it. This is what I needed. But having this, had I had this, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Many, probably 1,000 properties. Probably 1,000 properties. I would bet on. Just from having access to the knowledge, probably 1,000 cribs. 5 to 7 years. Because there's just, at some point, nobody's going to get in your way. I'm booked for a call tomorrow at 2 p.m. for the call. Looking forward to it. Definitely. Let's tap in. Is this something for you? Let's go for it. If not, that's fine as well. Yeah, Makai tapped in today. We connected. Makai's 19 years old, man. Tapped in. These young guys are it's exciting to me that young guys can be mentally tuned into this stuff, because I'm looking at a guy 19 and saying, man, by 23, you might be out to 9 to 5. That's crazy. And what can somebody that young out of the 9 to 5 who has complete freedom and can be a free thinker, what can they do with that time? How many people can they impact with a 40, 50-year runway and knowledge and mentorship? That's an incredible opportunity. Incredible opportunity. Act 135 is when you buy a property and it has a vacant property attached to it. And if you rehab it and the owner, yeah, I know what you're talking about, has to pay you. So what's your question about Act 35? Do you know any specific ways that you can source deals? I mean, you would just try to find properties with that lot next to them that you could, if it's a vacant property attached to it, you could renovate it. I mean, I don't have a lot of strategy on that, because it's always a little risky dealing with properties that have redemption rights. And when you're dealing with even a vacant property, there's going to be a redemption rights associated with it, which means you can't get financing, which means you can't scale it typically. And you don't want to spend a lot of time with strategies that aren't scalable, because other people are going to lap you essentially, because you can't scale. But it can be an okay strategy to acquire a property or so. But I believe you have to double check that, because with most of that stuff, you have to owner occupy the property, and then you can deal with the vacant attached property. You can't really do this stuff as a pure investor. You'd have to owner occupy. So which means it's not scalable. So it's not necessarily a strategy to teach. It is something that somebody could do on an individual basis, but there's many things that they could do on an individual, owner occupant basis that might even be more attractive. How does that work A to Z? I'm not sure what the original question was. Are closing costs typically 1.5? Closing costs differ based upon the municipality. So closing costs can be, I believe, as much as 8%, as little as 2%. If it was 2%, it would be 1%. It could actually be lower than 2%, hypothetically. I'll have to do the research to see what municipality in the country has the lowest transfer taxes. But it could be like 0.5%, and then the buyer and the seller would each pay half of that. So each will pay 0.25%. If it's 2%, the buyer and the seller each pay 1%. Place like Philly, the transfer tax, it went up. It was 4%. Now it's like 4.6%. And that change happened somewhere over the last 5 years. So sometimes transfer taxes change. But that's basically the concept. How much is the program and when does it start? You have to tap in to the call to learn the cost of mentorship. It starts right away. As soon as you join the mentorship program, we schedule a time, typically within 24 to 48 hours, to hop on our first one-on-one Zoom call. So as soon as you join, my philosophy is, if you're just getting started with me now, you've been sitting on the sidelines long enough. So as soon as we get started, we take action. As soon as you're ready, boom. First Zoom call scheduled. We're hopping on a one-on-one. We're going to start to custom strategize for you, lay out some action steps, and push to get you into your first deal. This is why most of our people are getting their first deal within 30 to 90 days, because we take action right away. Everything is lights, camera, action. Lights, camera, action. Said I'm interested. Good. Good. Definitely, tap in, click the link in the description. Once again, tap in to the free training link, schedule a call from there. And then, you'll speak with me and my team. We'll lay everything out for you, tell you what goes into the mentorship program and costs and all of that stuff. We'll talk about all that stuff. If it's a good fit, it's a good fit. It's not a good fit, it's not going to hurt me. Trust me, it's not going to hurt me. And I won't even say it's like going to hurt you, but it's not going to help you. You'll just be in the same position at the end of the day. And some people are comfortable there in their position. Some people, they get to that point, I'm going to tap into mentorship, and they feel that growing pain. They mistake that growing pain as an indicator that they shouldn't do something. It's actually an indicator that you're expanding your comfort zone. You're expanding yourself. That's why it feels less comfortable, because you're pushing against the borders. You're like stretching. So, if it's for you, then you tap in. If it's not, then you stay stuck. And maybe another year goes by, and then you start thinking about that initial mindset message, which is they're waiting on you. They're not waiting on me, because I'm taking action. I'm giving the knowledge out. They're waiting on you to get the knowledge. They're waiting on you to take action, not me, because I'm out taking action. Nobody's waiting on me. Right? So when you decide that you're that version of yourself where nobody's waiting on you, and you start taking action, you'll start getting results. But only after you start taking action will you get results. What's the best and fastest way to get your properties tenanted with Section 8 or similar? Pre-inspection. If you can pre-inspect your properties with Section 8, that means they're pre-approved for a tenant to move in. Then all you need to do is market them, get a tenant in there who is ready to move in, collect their voucher, and you can move them in very fast. So pre-inspection is the fastest way to go with some of these government-based programs, because whenever you're getting money from the government, there's going to be some type of condition around that. And part of that condition is that this property has to be up to par, scrape paint, ready for move-in, safe for children, no lead, or has been tested for lead. So getting your testing done, having your paperwork ready, and then, going straight in with that pre-inspection is the fastest way. Even faster than that is kind of knowing how to build the properties correctly to pass the inspection the first time. But that can take time, and that changes. That sometimes you can't get that right, because a different inspector could come in. Even if you build these properties, let's say you build the properties the right way, they pass inspection the last 10 times. Then the 11th time, a new inspector comes out, and they're like, oh, well, I like it this way. And they feel all empowered because they're an inspector and they're powerful now. So they're going to fail the property. And that's just part of the game. Section 8 is not about speed of tenanting. It's about longevity of the tenant. The average Section 8 tenant stays for 5 to 7 years. So once you get tenanted, you're occupied, you're cash flowing. What mistake could you say you've learned the most from in real estate so far? I would say partnerships. I say it all the time. Partnering with people on deals, having some partnerships go to hell. Some partnerships are great, but understanding that while partnerships can be okay, mentorship is so much better than partnerships, and you don't need them. Partnerships are way more expensive than people think, because they can be, one, a time drain, and nothing's more valuable than your time. But two, that partners that now trying to take a lot of your profits, 50% of your profits, sometimes more. They might want you reinvesting all of your profits. Oh, let's reinvest them. Why are you taking profits out? And it's like all of this stuff. What you want to do is just get the knowledge, get a mentor. A mentor ain't going to take any of your profits on any of your deals, but they're going to give you all the knowledge. They're actually going to give you what you really want from a partnership, which is knowledge. The only reason you're partnering with somebody is for cash, but cash is cheap, believe it or not. You can get cash from the bank. But for cash, or because you think they're going to be there, this is the real reason. It's usually not cash. It's because you think there's going to be somebody else who's going to help you to think through problems. If you run into something, you're not in it alone. Isn't that what you're getting from mentorship? From real mentorship, not some of these guru courses where they just give you some course content and never talk to you, or pass you off to an assistant who's never done a deal. But somebody who you can work with one-on-one, aren't you getting all of that access to somebody who already is going through those problems and can solve it, but is not taking half of your profits? So the biggest mistake that the average person can make in real estate is partnerships, going into partnerships without proper knowledge. And then even if the partnership was good, at some point you're going to outgrow it very quickly because you're going to acquire the knowledge and then you don't need the partnership. Amen to that. You guys always know I'll go on a partnership rant. 1 out of every 2 live sessions, there's a partnership rant. Can you pay your mortgages every month with credit cards to get cash? Sure. The bank don't care. They're spending whatever you're sending. What are the average monthly holding costs for homes in Philly being renovated? How many months should we anticipate before renting? You can rent in like 30 days if you're running right and if you have the right product and the right leasing agent and everything, and you're doing the right amount of volume. What I found shockingly is a lot of these leasing agents are lousy. That's why I started my own property management company for my boots on the ground people in Philly. It's part of the reason. So a lot of these leasing agents suck. They're horrible. And they're bad because they're not dedicated. But because I now have this leasing program and property management program just for my people, I can just, boom, dedicate it. We're going to show this property. Every interested person, we're going to call every person who applies. We're going to show it to everybody who's interested. And when you do that, you will lease up very quickly. You will get tenants very quickly. Holding costs are just going to be the mortgage interest. There might be like $100 a month in water bill, electric bill, something like that. They're not too high. Typically, most of these lenders, construction lenders, are escrowing 3 months of interest payments in the closing costs. And if you're doing the right type of cosmetic deal, it's probably going to take you 6 to 8 weeks to fully renovate anyway. So I would anticipate a month or 2 for tenanting on average, but that's when you have the right leasing agent running it. If the wrong leasing agent's running it, they could be running for 6 months and you could see nothing. So it's something that you have to kind of feel out. How soon after getting your first property do you get property management for your real estate? I typically like to start off with property management, especially when I'm newer, because your property management company, one, you have to manage the manager, so that is part of it, but your property management company is going to run things a certain way. They're going to run what I call a tight ship. A tight ship. So that means the rent's due on the 1st. It's late on the 6th. They get a 10-day pay or quit notice. By the 16th, we file eviction. And the paperwork's tight. And you see their process. So you're hiring the property management up front to learn. They're also going to answer the phone. They have contractor relationships. They have a lot of stuff that you won't have necessarily on your first deal. So you can build off of that, and you can get leverage. What it's going to keep you from doing is burning out on deals 1 through 10. The average investor burns out on deal 1 through 10 because they try to do everything themselves, and then they burn out. And they don't have the mentorship to create the systems to allow them to get past that point. Because they've never done it. They're trying to figure it out. And most people can't figure it out in time. Most people aren't smart enough, clever enough, or they're lacking something in their mindset that will allow them to climb higher. So you will get the leverage of the property management. You won't burn out because they're managing everything. You're going to see their systems. Then once you get past that point, you can hire a virtual assistant and teach them into all the systems that the property management company was doing at a lower cost point. Now you're managing in-house. Most people try to do it reverse. So they try to self-manage, and then they think, oh, when I get 10, I'll do property management. No, you won't, because by the time you get 10, you'll have built a business that cannot support the cost of property management, because your cash flow, it's going to hurt too much to give 10% away to the property management company because you never did it before. You didn't build a muscle. So then you lose. And that's your answer. So start off with property management and then bring it in-house later. So do I recommend the classic way or Airbnb? I'm assuming you mean the classic way is just like long-term rentals. For the average investor, long-term rentals are better. Is less management, set it and forget it. There's nothing wrong with Airbnb. We talked about it in good detail in this session. And I have a lot of videos and content on Airbnb as well. I think you have to pick a strategy that fits you, and then you have to stick with that strategy. But you have to learn all these strategies. So even if I'm doing Airbnb, I have to know that if Airbnb goes to hell, I can exit that and go with co-living or some type of classic strategy and still cash flow. Now, if I can do that, if I can still cash flow with a classic strategy, then I'll Airbnb, because I know if it goes wrong, I can always fall back and I'm good. I'm still probably not going to Airbnb because, like most things, because I just don't want to. Because I'd rather do co-living or different other strategies. Because that fits with me more. And it's just what I want to do. You don't have to do every investment strategy. There's 101 ways to make money in real estate. You only need a handful. So you do it, but you do it with a grain of salt. You do it understanding that if the Airbnb isn't cracking, I can go back down to co-living. I can go back down to Section 8. I can go back down to regular market rentals, and I can still make my money. And now you are doing this like a sophisticated investor with multiple exit strategies. Brian, do you think real estate investors of Airbnb can sue Citi since nope. Somebody just tried to do that and got the case thrown out. Who did that? Somebody I think it was New York. Some group in New York. Actually, no, Airbnb tried to sue New York. Airbnb tried to sue New York. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it while we're here. Airbnb tried to sue New York and lost. The judge threw out the case. Let me try to find this. Airbnb sues New York. I was reading it. Airbnb sues New York. Let me go to news. And it got tossed. Judge tosses. Here we go. Because you asked, is this? No, that's not it. Let me go back here. Is this not the? No, this is it. Let me check again. No, that's not it. I'll just read this to you guys because it's not popping up. Airbnb. It says judge tosses Airbnb's attempt to block New York City's strict new rental rules. So and this just came out 5 hours ago. So they just tossed it. End of story. So that kind of gives you your answer. How do property management companies make profit, and how do they charge? They'll typically charge you based on the gross rent. So like when I'm doing this in-house for my people in the Boots on the Ground program, I'm charging 5%, which is like the bottom. Some people are charging 10% is industry standard. Some places charge like 20% almost. If you go to like Colorado or something, I don't know why, but 10% is industry standard. And then they will kind of upcharge you on different things. Like if they have to get your rental licenses, they'll tag some fees. If they have to fix, a leak or something like that, they'll tag some fees. And there's different fees that will tag on that. When working on 10 plus deals a month, how many contractors do you need, and what's a good way of managing that? You need at least 10 deals a month. You need about 50 contractors. Figure about 5 per property, but you would want to stage it. So you would want to run your demo team ahead. So they're just demoing properties. Then when they get out, you send your framers, your structural guys in, and you kind of stage them and you run them in sequence like an assembly line is how you need to do that. A good way of managing it, tap into the 100 Keys Masterclass, because it's not all we talk about, but that's the nuts and bolts of the 100 Keys Masterclass, is how to scale up to do 100 deals a year. What systems you need? How do you manage that? How does it play out? that's why you need that course content. I certainly can't break all of that down for you. And even an hour here. That's why the 100 Keys Masterclass is so robust. What are your thoughts on rent to own seller financing? It's definitely a good move. Rent to own is definitely a good move. Seller financing as an exit strategy. So it's something that a lot of us should tap into. Airbnb and some hosts tried to sue NYC. I'm a New Yorker. It's not funny to me. Look, it is what it is, man. This is what Airbnb is. This is what Airbnb is. This is what you're facing. You're going to deal with regulations. It's happening everywhere. So you just have to be conscious of it. There's going to be a lot of people who don't want it. There's going to be a lot of people who do want it. The problem is the people who don't want it, they will make friends with the people on the boards. And some of these people have deep pockets, or they went to school, or they, are on the committees or whatever. And the way that things are flowing is they're going to keep banning it. That's all I can tell you. They're going to keep banning it. These cities want to tax it. So once they see other cities tax it, they're like, oh, you can just tax them like 10%. Yeah, let's tax 10% and grab that Airbnb money. And then they're going to pinch you. So you just got to do what you got to do. I know classic is the truth, but for income fast, is Airbnb the best route? You want to travel. I mean, for income fast, flipping is probably the best route. 50K flips, profit target, flips is probably the best route for, getting good bang for your buck and being the average individual. I think we've talked enough about Airbnb and kind of the pros and cons. He got paid to toss Airbnb. Is worth how much money as a company? Company's worth $82 billion. I mean, look, it's not a bad company, but it's not a bad company, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't know what you guys want me to say. The strategy is the strategy, man. So you can tap into that strategy and go all in on it if you want. I might be that I told you so guy, at the end of that game when your city gets hit. Or you can do it kind of the strategic way in the rural areas in those pockets. And that's fine too. Or you can do Section 8, or you can do co-living, or you can flip, or you can wholesale, or you can do creative financing and rent to own, lease purchase options. I mean, mix it up. Find a good strategy that works for you. But I think Airbnb, out of the strategies, is probably the most risky from a regulation standpoint. That I will say. I don't think the other strategies have that regulatory risk like I'm seeing with Airbnb. And that's what concerns me as an investor. Because, like I said, there are things as an investor that you can control and things you can't control. Somebody kind of dropping one of these regulations and putting taxes on your product, you can't control that. And you just have to accept that and not get hit with that. So guys, hopefully this helped. We answered a lot of questions here. This was almost just a pure Q&A session, but I think we got a lot of value. If you think somebody will get value out of this, share this with them. Like, comment, subscribe. Leave the comment that says I subscribe so I can send you instant access to that free real estate training that'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar. Click the link in the description, tap into the free training, book a call, and we will get you guys tapped in. So that's it. Hope this helped. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, signing off. I'll see you guys on the next one.